Dreadlocks are probably one of the oldest hairstyles there are to mankind. Sometimes people twist them with a gel. Sometimes people just let them knot up by themselves. Well, for people that have straight hair, we need help forming the locks and to make them look nice. So this method with a crochet hook is good for hair that's naturally knotted up to form dreads, or starting off the process to form dreads using the crochet hook. And over time, the dreadlocks can do different things. In this case, it's thinned. It's thinned at one spot. And the thing that we wanted to show you was how to attach a dreadlock that's fallen out, that's been ripped out, or for some of you, you may have a job, you have to cut them out, and then you can reattach them later. So if you cut your dreads, don't just trash them. They got some history. Go ahead and keep them, you might use them again. So let's go ahead and take a look about how to reattach this. Some people say it's rough on the hair. It probably is, but some people would rather pull on the hair than cut it. So let's go ahead and just pull on this, and there we go. It's ripped right off. And you know, this is one of the things we got to remember with doing the crochet hook style, is that you need to keep the hair maintained in order to keep things like that from happening. So here we go. This is one of the crochet hooks I have. This is 0.7 millimeters. I like the larger or the smaller ones. Do you have the 0.6 millimeter? Yeah. Let's go ahead and use that one. The 0.7 is really good to start out with. It's a little bit larger, so you're not going to poke yourself as hard. But the more advanced you get, the smaller the crochet hook. So here's a 0.6 millimeter. This is the one that I like to use. All right. Now to reattach the dreadlock, we're going to go ahead and just form it together the best we can, kind of mushing it, the two ends. The more loose hairs there are, the better. So the more it kind of mushes together. And then we're going to go ahead and just knot it up with our fingers. And initially we're just going to establish a connection between the two sides. So I'm going to go in at different angles on the top, on the bottom, and all the just pinch it and poke it in with the needle. And what this does is it forms the locks. It forms the knots to make the dreadlock. And do one side, going on this side. Now I'm going to go on top, going on this side. And I'm going to show you just after a few seconds of doing this, the dreadlock's already attached. So let's go ahead and strengthen that attachment. If something's been ripped out or an extension has been added, like this is basically a dread extension, none of her hair was extended until this very moment, but now it is. Make sure that extra time and effort is invested into making the knots as strong and as solid as possible. And that's one of the things about doing dreadlocks with the crochet hook, is it is going to form solid knots. So if you do it a lot or do it real hard, it's going to overwork the hair, and it could break it, which is a concern for a lot of people. But my wife's had these for 5 years, 6 years almost, and the hair has grown faster. It's grown healthier. So it's been a really pleasant experience having dreadlocks. So we'll just go ahead and continue to strengthen this. Now what I'm doing basically is, as I'm doing this, I'm poking through the part where I felt that it was ripped at, through the thinnest part. And I'm pulling knots into the different sections. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually joining the two sections with knots from both sides. So it's not just forming the loose hairs into knots, it's pulling the old knots through that section that was loose. So we can see here it's strengthening. I don't want to pull on it again too hard, but I can tell it's more solid. So, and also as I'm looking at this, I can see that it is more solid on this part right here. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Is I like to pull the the thicker bulges into the smaller ones to even out the dreads. And that's basically how the consistency is achieved with a dreadlock. Some people like the lumps and the clumps in the dread. This method offers the ability to sort of even the dread out, which I think is a very beneficial thing for people. Different strokes for different folks. People like the different styles. And one thing that we've noticed is the style is really clean. We wash it every week, every few weeks, whatever the scalp needs. I think that's one of the most important things to remember, is to listen to your scalp, listen to the hair, and over time it's going to stabilize and you're going to have some balance and some nice looking dreads. A lot of people may not be happy with how it stabilizes. You have to remember that everyone's dreads are different. Yours may not turn out real nice, like some people I've seen have really nice looking dreads. They're clean. They say they don't do anything to it. I think they're very lucky individuals. A lot of us have to do more work and invest more time into making the dreads look nice. But that's what dreads are. It's an investment of time and investment of history. Very special and unique to each individual. That should be remembered whenever dreads are thought about, is that they are special and unique to each individual. Beautiful. Okay, now we're looking at, as we look at this dread, it's pretty well formed. It's hard to tell where the ripped part was at, which is basically what we wanted to achieve. You would probably feel around, and the way I've pulled on the different knots is it's just stabilized in different areas. And we'll continue doing that, just working on it. And this is what having dreadlocks this style entails. Is a lot of people have commented about just relaxing and doing the dreads this way. It takes hours and hours sometimes, and that's true. But there is some time and investments that are saved. You don't have to go to the salon as much. You're taking care of it yourself in your own way, which is very special. So now what I'm doing is, as I'm looking at this, I'm sort of just evening out the section where it's a little bit thicker and kind of combining it with the section that's thinner. And just stabilizing it. Do it a little stronger and a little bit faster. And the knots are basically just formed by pushing the needle in and out of the part where you want it to, where you want to stabilize it. And that's what I do, is I actually work inside. I poke into the dreadlock, and so it distributes more of the inside knots more. I like to pull more on the inside knots. In the beginning, for loose hairs, yeah, you're gonna poke through the dreadlock and to the other side. And then, yeah, once you're on the other side, then you're going to pull some loose hairs back in. And that's sort of the way that I started out doing. And that's good for the loose hair maintenance. But now for consistency of dreads and keeping them thick and healthy, I'm going to we sort of let the loose hairs go sometimes. We'll repair them at times. But it's keeping the thickness and the consistency of a nice, healthy dread. I'm pulling on it. It looks pretty good. So all we can do is just sort of improve on it. But you want to balance it. You want to decide on how much time do you want to work with the dreadlocks, balanced with just letting the hair do what the hair is going to do. And so we've come up with a good balance. Washing it every week or two. After we wash it, do a little bit of maintenance. If every month or two, especially up on the scalp, keeping the loose hairs down on the scalp. It's real important for doing the different styles. So thank you for sharing your dreadlocks with us, and I hope you enjoyed the video and it was informative. Take care.